everybody. All right, welcome. Not sure if you noticed what I was doing there, but I was basically playing a partial chord. Okay, so in a way, it's almost like playing open chords like a power chord. And let me explain it. And I kind of wish someone had mentioned this to me because these are things. I'm going to show you a few things today. That's what we're talking about. Three things that there are others, but we're going to keep it to three things right now, or these three things right now. These are things that changed as I continued my journey. So if I had stopped after a couple of years, I'd be playing my G this way, and I'd be playing my open chords, and everybody would be happy, and I'd be playing all my basic songs, and probably wouldn't know any better. But then as you continue, you start morphing. Your playing starts to evolve. It changes. Now that'll vary and depend on each and every one of us. So I can only tell you how it changed for me. Now these are three things that I approached differently after I had kind of little light bulb moments, right? That I realized that I could do something a certain way or a different way or an obscure way or the way everyone else does it or whatever, and still get the same results, if not better, and it just kind of helped me. It was just easier to play. So in no particular order, the first thing is you don't have to always play whole chords, okay? Now, I don't want to get into this right now, but there's a thing called triads, and I know a lot of us that have been playing for a while, at first that's just forget it. That's another language. But then as you move down your journey here, you start to hear the word triads. You start to see guitar players and you're wondering, well, what are they playing here? What are they doing when they're going up and down? And what are they playing? Well, they're playing chords. Okay? They just don't look like the chords that we all learned when we start, because we all learn open chords, right? When we start. What they're playing are triads. Triads, tri, which is three notes. And you say, well, how could it be a chord if it's three notes? Well, because look at the G, I got to play all 6 strings. Look at the C, I got to play 5 strings. Look at the D, and the A minor, I got to play 4 strings. Okay? Well, let's look at the G chord. You don't have to play them all, and here's why. Now, there's a reason the G chord is popular. It's because it's a nice, fat-sounding chord. But here's why it's fat-sounding. We're actually playing the same, you got it, 3 notes, the triad notes, over and over to make a fatter sound. So in a way, by doing this, we are really playing we are making it sound like 2 or 3 guitar players playing different parts of the chord. Now let me explain. The G is made up of a G, that's the root, G, G, right? Key of G, chord of G, note of G, 1, 1, 1. So first note of the G chord is a G, note number 1. Chords are made of the first, the third, and the fifth note. So G, we would then skip the A, because that's the second note. We go right to the B, so there's our second note, right? So if you play your G this way, there's your G, and there's your B. So this is your actual second note of the chord, but it's the third note on the scale. G, skip A, go to B, skip C, and go to D. Well, where's our D? D is open string. So 1, 2, 3. There is a G chord right there. Any way you want to play that, that's a G chord, right? Now, let me just get a pick. So if we play these 3 strings, we're playing a G chord. And that's the same as if you see a guitar player playing the same 3 notes, G, B, and D, elsewhere on the neck. They're playing a G triad, which is a G chord. So what you can do when you play a big 5 or 6 string chord, you can just play half of it or some of it. So we could play the top or the bottom half, which is the top of the guitar. I know that always gave me problems. Like, top? No, that's bottom. That's bottom. That's low. That's high, right? This is top and this is bottom. It's always... All right, so look, I can play the G. Sometimes we call it bass strumming, so we hit the G note and then we strum the rest of the strings. That's one way to do it, okay? But I can also do this. Now I'm just playing the top. See? Confusing. I'm just playing the bottom strings, 4, 5, and 6. The D, the B, and the G. That's it. Right? Now I can go down here and I can play the top part of the G, and I'm playing, what am I playing? I'm playing the D, sorry, the G, the B, and the open G. And I get this separation. There's a distinct separation in sound, but I can do that. So I could actually right? We can separate the chord. We can also do that with the C. We can just play the first few strings, meaning 5, 4, and 3. Or we can go down here and take it from the bottom. And it gives you a chance to add a little something, something to your playing. So that's the first thing that nobody ever mentioned to me, okay, along the way. And I kind of, that would have been cool to know that, all right? Because when I was doing this, because I stumbled into it, I thought, oh, that sounds pretty good if I just play those. And then I'd go, no, 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 don't do that because you're not allowed to. And I would move on, okay? So another thing, number 2, is when it comes time to learn scales, and most of us learn that A minor pentatonic scale, right? We all know the shape. And that's great. I didn't know that you didn't have to play all the notes, okay? And I didn't know there was different positions to the scale and what those positions meant, so I just avoided them. Well, first of all, I now realize that, you know what, I very rarely play the whole scale when I'm using it to play a lead, a riff, or some sort of an accoutrement to any kind of music I want to play with or a person I want to play with, right? And it turns out you end up using little shapes within the overall shape of the scale. So let me show you. So you get your A minor pentatonic. Now there's only penta, 5 notes, right? So A, C, D, E, and G. That's it. That's all it is. That's the scale. When we go down and up to practice, we're actually playing it 4 times. We're playing those 5 notes, these 5 notes, right? And then there's a couple at the bottom we play. And then we play them again going up. So we actually play the scale 4 times, right? Now when I started playing, I started realizing, oh, I don't do this when I want to play that scale. I can, and you're more than welcome to, but you're going to find more often than not you don't have to, and it's just too redundant, it's too long. So I end up just playing little, okay? I break it up into little 4-note boxes, 3 notes, 2 notes, toggling 2 notes back and forth. A lot of times is more than sufficient to play along, okay? Then maybe go to another 2 notes. Back to those 2 notes. And you find out that you end up playing just 2 or 3 notes out of that whole scale, which, to be honest, it's not 5 notes, it's 20 notes, right? Because we're playing them 5, 5, 5, 5. And I'm only really using 2, 3, or 4. So that is something that I didn't know. And that stopped me from really kind of sinking my teeth around playing lead guitar or some sort of accoutrements, because I kept thinking that I had to use every note in the scale. And I'm talking I'd been playing for 3 or 4 years. And that's just a result of just not having a mentor or somebody, again, tap you on the shoulder and say, you know, you don't have to use all. Why are you doing that? Just use 3 or 4 notes. It'll sound great. Okay? So I just thought I'd pass that one along, that you do not have to use every note in any scale. And I just use that scale as an example. This goes for all scales. Okay? And quickly, the second position. When you hear play the G major scale in the second position, play the A minor pentatonic in the second position, all that means is we are now going to move and start the scale on the second note in the scale. Okay, so in this case, A minor pentatonic, the first note would be the A. Now the second note of the A scale is a B. But we're not looking for that. We're looking for the second note of the scale. So A is 1, C would be 2. So when they say, hey, Ray, I want you to play the A minor pentatonic, but start at the second position, okay? All right. So what that means is we're going to start on the second note of the scale. So we go to C, there's C. And now we're going to play, remember, we're going to play 5 notes. C, or A, C, D, E, G, right? So now we're starting on C. So the scale pattern would be a little different. We're not going to go over 4. Remember over here we go 4 and then 2, or 3 and 2, however you want to look at it. So here, we're not going to do that. This changes the patterns now in position 2. So we're going to start here on the C, and we're going to go C, D, right? C, D, E, G, A, right? C, D, E, G, A, C, right? And then there's our 4 again. So our 4s are in the middle instead of along the top and the bottom. And it just changes up the pattern. Okay, I don't want to get into this whole let's learn the second position. I just want to let you know that that's what it means. The third position would be start on the third note of the scale. So that would be A, C, D. We'd start our pentatonic, we'd start our pentatonic on the third note of the scale. Okay? That's what that means. Now, the other thing that would kind of like, how would you say it? It's not that it came into play when this is more of a, made things easier for me when I knew and realized this. When I was learning songs, I would just, whatever Inner Google told me, that's what it was. I had no idea that the reason it's A minor, C, G, A minor, F, C, G, there was a reason why those chords, and why didn't I ever see an E major, or why didn't I have to worry about a D minor, or why didn't I ever have to worry about an F sharp, or anything like that? Well, because, quite frankly, those chords aren't in the key of the song that I'm learning, and I didn't know any of that, okay? So once I started realizing that there really are, even though there are 7, there really are only 6 chords in the kind of music that I think you and I are mostly playing, which is pop, country, roots, or Americana, folk, that kind of stuff, right? Okay, you're really only using the 6 chords in a key. And once I realized and understood how to identify what those chords are, well, it just made everything so much easier. And then finding out that the chords are actually numbered made it even easier than that. Now, here's what I mean. So let's say you're playing with people, you're not in a situation that you can just ask what the chords are, and you got to figure out. And someone says, anybody wants to know, I'm playing in the key of D. Okay, great, he's in the key of D. So what chord is next? Well, you still may not know what the second chord is, but with this knowledge, you now know that there's only 5 other possibilities that it can be after you've identified the D as the number 1 chord. And we do that by using the same shape as the major scale. So remember the major scale? So let's say it's a G major scale. You want to know what the notes are? 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1. So G, we go up 2 frets, 2, right? A, go up 2 more frets, B, 2, 2, 1, C. So now the first notes are G, A, B, C. 2, 2, 1. Now from the C, we go 2, 2, 2, 1, right? So that means that the next notes would be D, because up 2 is a D. We go up 2 more is an E, right? So now from our 2, 2, 1, which landed us at C, G, A, to A is 2, to B is 2, to C is 1. Now we go 2, D, E, F sharp, G, and that completes our scale. So it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, right? That's how we formulate, start on any letter, and you go 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, and you are actually playing the G major scale, or whatever the note you're looking for, major scale, based on the 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Well, I didn't know that also applies to the chords within a key. That's why knowing the major scale, you may not know how to play it, finger it wise, with all the little patterns, but if you know the theory, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, now you can identify any chord in a key. So for example, let's take D, right? So D is chord number 1 in the key of D. There we go, right there, okay? Now, if we wanted to play a D scale off of that note, off of that chord, we could start on the D note right here, even though it's not the root, bass root, it's still a root note, D, and we go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, right? C sharp, back to D. There's our note scale. So we do the same for chords. D would become 2 up would be an E, but it's chord number 2. Remember the 1, 4, 5 chord within a key are major. The 2, 3, 6 are minor. So it's a 2 chord. So the E would be an E minor, right? Get it? D, 1. E minor is 2. Now we go to F, and it's also a minor. So it would be an F sharp, right? Because from here we go up 2, so it's an F sharp minor. Then we go up 1, it's a G. Then we go 2, it's an A. We go 2 more, but it's a minor chord, so it'd be a B minor, not a B major. Okay? And then we would go to C sharp, because B to C is only 1, and we have to go to C sharp. So we would go to C sharp, and that's our only chords that we're going to deal with in the key of D. And we wouldn't even need that C, because that would be actually a diminished, some sort of a diminished chord. So we'd really only be looking at D, E minor, right? F sharp minor, G, A, and B minor. So as someone's playing, between watching their fingering, right, and just doing play along and process of elimination till you get that ear that tells you, hey, that sounded right. That's how you figure out and guess the chords that are being played when you don't know. So that helped me immensely with theory, with all that kind of stuff moving forward, right? So, hey, so let's just do a quick recap, right? Now, these are things that are I just thought I'd throw them out there because, you know, sometimes you just don't realize. And it's like anything. You can stop this journey anytime, and whatever you've learned, you'll be just fine. You'll sit around the campfire and be the star of the show. But as you go further, you're going to refine your skills. You're going to find alternate ways of playing chords and notes and things like that, right? You're going to change your fingering. You're going to change your strumming. You're going to change everything, really, to suit your newfound skill set, right? So first thing was, remember, not playing the whole chord. So we can play a power chord version of a G, C, D. Now I'm just playing those 2 strings, the root D and the next string down, which is that G string, fretted at the 2nd fret. That's all I'm playing. Get a bassier sound, okay? Next, scales. We don't have to play all the scales all the way through every time for every song or any piece of music that we want to play to. We just pick out little shapes or patterns within the scale, starting with the note, the root note of the key that we're in. So in other words, if I'm using the A minor pentatonic and it's in the key of C or A and I want to play along, I don't have to play this whole up and down. I could just start on an A right here, right? So I could play this 4-note box, right? No problem. And lastly, knowing how to identify the 6 keys. That's all. There's 6 chords. That's all we're worried about within a key is going to help you immensely, because it eliminates the need to worry about any other chords other than the 6 that they could possibly be when you're trying to decipher a song. You have no inner Google, your internet is out, you have nobody to ask, yet you want to find out what the chord progression is of this song in the key of D, right? So you use the A major scale. D, E minor, F sharp minor, G, A, B minor, C sharp. That's how we do it. All right, I hope this helps. A little bit of something for everybody, I guess. And again, thanks so much for your ongoing support. Watch for my live lessons. They're unscheduled. They're kind of random. I jump on and off throughout the week. So if you really want to know and keep up to date on everything and follow, please hit the subscribe. And then if you hit that, I think that bell, I think so, there's a little bell. Then every time I go live, it'll tell you. Okay? All right, so I hope this helps. Thanks again, and we will see you soon. And just remember, just play your guitar.